Have you ever felt things couldn't get worse? That you'd been kicked so hard you'd never get up? That's how I found myself some years ago. Out of the blue, my baby daughter died, and I was devastated. In the blackness, I heard a voice. "Olive, you can't sit there forever. Let's start and put your life back together." The effort was like climbing a sheer rock face with precious little to cling on to. But eventually, with an almighty shove, I was out in the daylight. Thank God. Then I said to God, "If there's anything you'd like me to do, just say." I was astonished at God's response, inviting me to become a clown? I didn't know where to start, but gradually, one by one, God gave me the things I needed. By then I was too far in to back out. When you take God seriously, you never know where you might end up. When a new clown goes out in public for the first time, it's a very significant moment. It's called taking the plunge. I decided to take the plunge from my own front door. Maybe it was the big shoes that made me walk slower, but suddenly I was seeing things that happened in the street every day, and I knew I had to take time and reflect on them and ask why. Then I heard God saying to me, "Olive, we haven't finished your makeup yet. We need to go back to the paint box." I couldn't figure out how to relate all this to my new journey of faith. But when I came back to the paint box, I saw a colour I hadn't noticed before. The black. Not much fun in there, I thought. But then I realised this one would be the key to everything else. I want you to start to see the world the way I see it, God said. I want you to see the world through the cross. God never provides us with slick answers, but the cross does direct us towards the right questions. And always there's healing and transformation and the possibility of new life. I've been clowning now for 15 years, but I still get nervous at this moment. I never quite know how I'm going to be received. I'm always careful to give people safe spaces to see me first and not frighten them. Sometimes a small child will hide behind her parent, so I'll hide a little and show that I'm shy too, then give a tiny wave, a smile, and gradually, hopefully, she'll gain confidence and we might even get to shaking hands. I remember the first time I ever clowned in the street. I peeped over some cafe curtains and waved to some ladies who were drinking coffee. It was a good experience. They waved back and laughed. Then some other people came up to me and chatted. They asked what I was doing and why. And I suddenly realised they were asking the questions, and this made me very excited.
This is what Jesus spoke about when he sent his disciples out. He told them not to force their message on anyone, but to expect invitations to share their faith with other people. Jesus himself always allowed people safe spaces in which to ask questions about God. When I saw this, I realised that I could happily, using clowning, have a way of sharing my faith with other people.
Of course, the people in the cafe could have ignored me, or worse, rejected me altogether. Every time I go out as a clown, that's a risk I take. It's a very vulnerable situation to be in, but for me, that's what Christian clowning is about, modelling who Jesus is. There's a clown sketch I often use. Valentine takes out her imaginary heart and plays with it like a toy, throwing it up and catching it, throwing it to other people and hoping they'll return it. When I did this on the streets of California, some Korean children with no English caught my invisible heart and threw it back, while their parents laughed and clapped. That's how I knew they understood it. We'd got round the language barrier. Another time, everyone cheered when a teenage boy spontaneously jumped up and headed my heart back like a football.
Whether I'm meeting adults or children, I have to gain their confidence first and then be invited into their safe space. I'm trying to take my cue from the way Jesus meets people. Jesus never pushes his way into people's lives. When we meet Jesus, he always affirms us and lifts us up. He says, "You're special. You're made in the image of God. You're a person of great worth."